Hey guys, so as promised, I'm going to take this opportunity to review everything that happened last week and all the high and lows of the three most spectacular gigs of my entire life. But before we get on to that, I need to address the disappointment and frustration we're all feeling right now at the news of both Red Hot Chili Peppers and Guns N' Roses being postponed. Really looking forward to those, so we were, and as was I. And if we need to wait a little while longer for them to get rescheduled and to go ahead, then yeah, that's fine too. So without any further ado, let's just get on to the actual review. First of all, Hella Mega Tour, and I'm wearing the t-shirt again. Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer. Was a long time coming, 5 years in the making. Bella Houston Park, excitement was at fever pitch, and everyone knew who was there. It was going to be a night to remember. And from the moment we got through the gate, and before it even hit, myself, my two friends, Elisa and Tom, who saw in the video, if you guys are watching this, hey. Yeah, it was just, from the get-go, it was just absolutely fantastic. Apart from when we actually got to the gate and there was two girls with rucksacks, literally had to take everything else out and held us up for absolutely ages. It was horrible. And that's my advice for any of these sort of gigs now. Please don't bring rucksacks, because if they've got any stuff in them, chances are there's nowhere to put them. So, and plus you can't really bring a bag that's like bigger than A4 these days anyway. So please don't bring anything along the lines of bags unless like you have to, but make sure it's a small, ladies, if you want to bring small handbags, that's fine anyway. But once we got over that frustration, we eventually got in and immediately we headed for merch. Now, as we went in, I think it was entrance A, the merch queue for that was horrendous because obviously it was the main entrance and most people got in where the box office was. And just in general, it was just a shit show because pretty much all the card machines, they said it was a cashless event, but they still kind of accepted cash because obviously it's still legal tender at the end of the day, so it should still be accepted for emergency situations and stuff like that. And then just in general for all these big outdoor shows, make sure you do kind of have a little bit of cash on you just in case emergencies do arise and stuff like that. But it's just to keep everything as hands-free as we possibly can, really. But yeah, it was just a bit of a mess because pretty much so I'm just reading off a little script just at the back there, but just keep me on track. But I don't need it really for talking to you guys. It's easy enough. But just to make sure I covered all the points I was going to in this video. But let's just get back to it. Yeah, pretty much we got merch pretty much within 20 minutes of queuing. But oh my god, the card machines went down and it was a little trouble getting payment through. But we eventually got the t-shirts and all was sorted. So off the back of that, we headed for the stage and immediately we went on with A Meal and Sniffers, Australian punk band, very reminiscent of Slaves and all the other ones from the 70s, like Sex Pistols and The Clash and that. Brand new. I know a lot of people thought they were a bit hit and miss, but I thought they were pretty good. So yeah, that started off the show pretty good. Next up, we had the first of the three headliners. We had Weezer, and then straight from the get-go, churned out all the hits. It started with Hash Pipe, Beverly Hills, My Name is Jonas. They did covers of Enter Sandman and Africa by Toto, which went down an absolute treat. And then, of course, my absolute favourite, Island in the Sun. Oh my god, and it was so magical because the sun came straight out when they played that. It was so magical that I loved it. Definitely brought a tear to my eye, but just saying. And then there's Say It Ain't So and Buddy Holly off the first album to round it all off. Just perfect. Great way to start off the gig. I know a lot of people kind of think they're a bit hit and miss, but I really like Weezer, so it was great. Next up, we had Fall Out Boy, and I swear to God, they're probably the band I've seen most times at the three headliners, and from the get-go, this stage show was just spectacular. Churned out all the mega hits from Sugar We're Going Down to Dance Dance to This Ain't a Scene. My songs Know What You Did in the Dark, Irresistible. Then my personal favourite, A Little Less 16 Candles, which was great. And also, their set was probably the most pyrocentric of the three, and definitely made a lasting impression on the audience and stuff. And that's when we also got the pit started as well, which was fantastic. Then on to the main event itself. Green Day. Again, long time coming. 13 years since I last saw them. And then as soon as I hit the stage, I lost my shit. And they had the big build-up with Bohemian Rhapsody, Blitzkrieg Bop, and obviously the Pink Bunny, Drunk Bunny dancing about, which was hilarious as always. And then, yeah, it all went down an absolute treat. However, American Idiot. Now, in my eyes, that's one of the best songs ever written, okay? When that song comes on, I don't care if you jump in, you mosh in, what? You move. Nobody was moving when that came on. what was going on? Seriously. Now, I respect the fact there was a lot, like, a bit more of a mature audience in the house. Like, there was a lot more, like, older people there. And to all the guys who were, like, more mature and could still stand amongst us, like, young folk and that, and still have a great time in the pits and that, thank God, you guys are fucking amazing. It's just fucking awesome that you guys were there and stuff. But seriously, I was like, what are you doing just standing there? Seriously, I was just like, Fran was like, there was a few people wanting to jump about and mosh and that, but still I was just like, why aren't you moving? It was just, it was weird. But eventually, Holiday, Know Your Enemy, we got it going and it was great. Now, during Welcome to Paradise, I was a little bit frustrated because obviously just a few things and that. But to anybody who saw me being a bit overtly violent, I apologise. I know I say that at a lot of gigs, but I have to sometimes because I feel like with a lot of these gigs that have happened in the last few months, and especially when live gigs have came back, a lot of people's social skills tend to go out the window. Now, that's the thing at gigs. You can let your hair down a wee bit, but mine, I was no exception. I was a little bit frustrated. I want to get a bit of anger out. I know that sort of gig's the wrong place to do it, but at the same time, I probably wasn't the worst person in there anyway. It was a bit chaotic throughout the night, but we still had an amazing, amazing time anyway. Like, it was easily one of the best nights of my life, and all the other hits as well. The majority of stuff from American Idiot, all the stuff from Dookie, all their old songs, King for a Day, the covers of Rock and Roll All Night, and then the two special guest stars, including the guitarist Erin, who went on stage. You were fantastic, by the way, although for the fact I kind of knew that your guitar was a bit, was tuned down about half a step, if I'm right. So that's why he was struggling a wee bit, and that's why Billy Joe, when I caught it on camera, he was like, wait, what? So, yeah, that's probably the reason why. Drive a bit. But Erin, if you come across this, you did amazingly, by the way. Keep it up. You're fantastic. So that was just one of the best nights of my life. I'll never forget it. Then, with literally 0 hours sleep, we got straight back up. We got to fly into Bristol from Glasgow Airport. Now, the reason we went to Bristol, it was a little bit cheaper. And obviously, just it's only a train ride away from Cardiff. So that's where we were going. Now, obviously, we went from the airport, then we went to Bristol Temple Meads. Then from there, we got the train to Cardiff Central. Took about 45 minutes, but my God, it felt like everybody was going to the gig. And as soon as we got to Cardiff, it was just, I found it was a really quirky city. It had a lot of nice bars, a lot of nice scenery, and everything was pretty much within a mile of each other. Even the bay, like the city centre from the bay was only like a mile-long walk, so it was easy to go. That's where we were staying at the Premier Inn. It's also just down the road from the Welsh Parliament building, if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong if that's not true. But hey, that was really good. And just the vibe from it, from Cardiff, was just nothing I'd ever seen before. It was just a really, really nice vibe, if you know what I mean. Just like everybody was up for a good time. Everything was in walking distance. Even the stadium, the Principality Stadium, was in walking distance. Unlike up here with like Glasgow and Hampden Park, where you pretty much had to get a train, taxi, or even drive to the south side to even be there from Glasgow. Like, that's how much of a difference it's made. I'll make a little bit more, I'll describe the similarities and the differences a bit more later on in the video, but just to make you aware that it was just a nicer stadium to be in. And even like the access, we pretty much walked straight in, whereas at Hampden you have these like horribly narrow turnstiles where they're just like, I know it's modelled, it's an older stadium, Hampden, and it's like modelled after the old Wembley, so in that regard, yeah, where the Principality's kind of newer. So yeah, I was immediately impressed when I walked into the Principality. The bars, the easy pitch access as well, pretty much in the stadium, and then pretty much walk straight onto the pitch as well. And the stadium was like the stage, that factory-like stage that Rammstein had, was literally in full view with everybody else. It was just amazing. Only thing I wasn't too impressed with, on the other hand, though, merchandise. Now, although there was a few merch stalls around about, there was a couple inside, like small ones in the stadium. There was one just outside, and then they had the main one outside the stadium. They obviously didn't bring enough tour shirts to meet the demand, because if you showed up early, chances are you got one, no problem. However, if you showed up kind of later like we did, you had no chance of getting a tour t-shirt. They were pretty much all gone by the time we got there, which made me a little bit frustrated, because like, I'm trying to get tour t-shirts like I am from all the gigs like this year, just to prove that with the pandemic and how much it's affected gigs and that, like just trying to get some more memorabilia and stuff like that. But yeah, it kind of frustrated me a little bit, but didn't let it down my night too much, as I just brought merch on line after the gig, which is an easier thing to do if you don't manage to get it there. Like, it'll be there readily available. Like, they pretty much have, with Ramstein, have like all the tour t-shirts, like from all the individual stadium shows on there for pre-order, and they'll be shipped out like at the end of the tour. So I got one, it was about 40 quid for me, but considering the store ready price was like 35, didn't make much of a difference. But hey, let's just get on to the main show. So from the get-go now, I've seen Ramstein before about 9 years ago at Download, and I swear to God, like, when I say they're the most spectacular live show on planet Earth, I mean, they are the most spectacular live show on planet Earth. Anyone who's watching this video and has seen them as well knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're just out of this world. The pyros are on point. Where we were standing, actually, which is behind the fire zone. Now, to get in the fire zone, which is the same with a lot of gigs nowadays, which is like the VIP area, you need to pay an extra amount of money to go in there. But the fire zone's different because, obviously, like, it's a lot hotter in there, and also because, like, you're guaranteed you might pass out from heat exhaustion and stuff like that. That's why they charge extra money. But where we were standing, it was all right. Apart from all the tall people in front of us, when I said that in the vlog, I wasn't joking about that. There was a lot of tall people. Like, I'm quite tall as it is, but yeah, just the amount of tall people in front of us definitely put a bit of a downer on things. But hey, it didn't stop us having a good time. Like, and also it was like raining for a section of the gig as well. I thought it'd stay off, but nah, it rained quite a lot, quite heavy, like for like the middle part of the set, from, I'd say, probably, I can't remember exactly, probably from like My Hunts Brent to all the way up to Maintal. It chucked it relentlessly. But no one gave a shit because we were all having such a good time. And then Deutschland, when we actually started jumping and had a pit going, it was brilliant in that regard as well. And then when it came to Du Hast and Son, the two biggest songs of the night, hands down, I mean, like, when the speaker towers had the flamethrowers on, it felt like we're in this like massive dryer, and it just felt like it just cooled us all off. Not cooled us off, but warmed us up. And it just felt just amazing and made everything complete in a lot of ways. So from that, we moved up to, if you had a standing ticket, you also had access to the lower level seating deck. And because they were like quite low, like, it was easy enough to get a good view of the stage and that. So it was really, really, really good. And that's where I got some of those shots. Couldn't really zoom in that well because my camera's got this thing. I still shoot in 1080 HD. I have the option for 4K, but I just shoot in 1080 anyway because it's just easier for, you know, just capturing some easy shots in the transfer wise and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go into full detail about it in this video. So, but apart from that, just spectacular, beyond spectacular. Ramstein, if you've not seen them before, please go see them. They are the greatest show on planet Earth. Which brings me on to my last gig, which is last, but by no means least, Calvin Harris. Now, already I knew it was going to be a bit rowdy, judging from what happened at some previous stadium shows I've been at, i.e. Liam Gallagher, although I won't go into much detail about that. And how I know about that, don't ask. But anyway, so when I got in though, I was like pleasantly surprised because although a lot of people were intoxicated, me included, although, you know, I don't drink at gigs, although because this gig was like disco dance orientated, I can make a bit of an exception. So, yeah, from the get-go, when we got in, no one was out to be a dick though. Like, everybody was on the same page. It was kind of a nice vibe and everything was good. The only nitpick I really had was the bars. Now, the bars up the stairs from Section F, where it was on the east standing, Section F was all reserved, the stairways and that, for everyone who was standing. You couldn't sit down, but at the same time, you had kind of easiest access, but yeah, again, this is one of the reasons Principality trumps Hampden in that respect. At some gigs at Hampden you can sit down, but this gig you couldn't sit down. But that's not saying that as a bad thing for this gig. But anyway, the bars for this, the upstairs bars were fine, although Hampden's not really a stadium. And I think the Principality is the same as well. Don't really serve alcohol, obviously, because it's football orientated and stuff, and they're not meant to sell alcohol anyway. But this is a gig, so it's a different story. So, yeah, the bars upstairs were fine. Got a drink, no problem. The one on the pitch, they've got two bars on the pitch, one by the east, one by the west. They've got kegs for draft on the pitch. However, one of the kegs for the drink I was drinking ran out, so they had to use cans instead. And oh my God, they were so warm, like, just didn't taste nice at all. And the other problem I had with the bars on the pitch was people trying to cut in on the gap. Please don't do that. That's just inconsiderate of people who are actually queuing up for drinks. But anyway, I'm not going to get into a big deal about that. As for the actual gig itself, I have to say I was also pretty impressed as well. We got in and we missed the first support act, which I'm right was Ariel Fire. Wasn't interested in that, so apologies if I didn't get any footage of that. but we got in for Disciples and MK, and immediately they were just brilliant. Like MK more specifically, they did a couple of covers, and then his 17 song really likes that went down the treat. Then the man himself, immediately, as I said, from the get-go, he played all the hits, pretty much the majority of his album, 18 Months, which is one of my favourite ever albums. And again, just all the hits from that were great. I've never thought I'd hear those songs that have been played by him again, and some of the covers he did, like Destination Calabria, Freedom Desire at the end, and Eat, Sleep, Rave, Repeat, and also Born Slippy. I love that song. And also one of my absolute favourites, an old song by his, I'm Not Alone. Never thought I'd hear that song live either. Like, I know it's DJing and it's pre-recorded most of the time, but at the same time, it's just amazing. Just a nice vibe. Just like the gig was spectacular, and then the fireworks at the end and some of the pyros as well made it sort of on par with Rammstein, although still Rammstein are the best. They will not be beaten at all. Although Calvin, it's a different vibe. Like, although Rammstein had a lot like dance and like techno elements as well, Calvin had a lot to give as well. It's just him, so he could add a lot of stage elements as well. So I really like that. It was a nice sort of like icing on the cake, if you will, to the 3 gigs we were at. So free, not free, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that was the bands. On the other hand though, there's a couple of things that happened at the Calvin gig which I want to talk about, which didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. The first one, the crowd. Now, thankfully, the Golden Circle, and this is the same as it's been for the other gigs that happened at Hampden, i.e. Liam Gallagher. Again, don't ask me how I know about that. And then the Jerry Cinnamon gigs coming up. The Golden Circle has been wristbanded, so it's first come, first serve. Once the wristbands are gone, they're gone. You don't get in the Golden Circle, which I was happy about. So, at the same time, it felt like a bit of a free-for-all with like the rest of the crowd like standing on the pitch. Where I was standing and was filming, it was all right. However, deeper like in the middle was a little bit of a different story. To the point, I saw a video of people like getting crushed, swathed about like, that way, and seeing it kind of made me feel sick. Just like, if you're stuck in like that and get swathed about like that, it's scary to witness, and it's just horrible to see. Like, I just couldn't believe something like that happened. Like, just, anyway, I've got my previous like horror stories and that. I won't go into too much detail about it on this video, but anyway. And then the other thing, the people seating. Now, I've seen a lot of videos and I've seen a lot of stories, and I've seen this happen at too many of the gigs that happened at Hampden. But the people seating, if you're one of these people who are deliberately jumping the fence to get past security, jumping over those gates to get onto the pitch, I don't care what idea you had in your head, but you're an inconsiderate fucking asshole if you do that. Seriously, like, if you've seen any of the videos from Astroworld last year, you'd known better not to do that. Crowd crushing kills people, and it's also inconsiderate and dangerous to the people who actually paid money and to the people who like work security and for gigs to ensure public safety. It's just not acceptable. I also just want to say that if you're one of these people who go to gigs purely to get drunk and cause trouble, as far as I'm concerned, you're not a music fan. You're just there to cause trouble and just be a complete idiot. So do me a favour, just don't go to gigs. But rant's over. But I thought I'd just say that because Jerry Cinnamon is happening next weekend at Hampden, and these things might happen again unless better security measures are put in place to make sure this does not happen again. So again, I'll leave links to all this stuff, by the way, to links of the stories, the articles I've read and stuff like that that's happened at these Hampden gigs, and also like just in general, some of the things that have been happening and stuff like that just all over the world. There's footage from Astroworld last year I'll also put in, just to make you realise that you jumping over the field to just for your own personal gain, it's not acceptable. If you want a stand ticket, buy one when the tickets go on sale. It's not hard at all. You've got O2 priority, if you have over rewards for the hydro, not an excuse. Buy a ticket for standing. Don't go seating. If you want to just chill, buy seating. Easy as that. But on that note, I'll see everybody when Transmit starts tomorrow, and it's going to be one hell of a good weekend. We've got so many bands and artists we have coming up. It's going to be one weekend to remember. So, to everybody who's watched my video so far, I thank you so much. And to everybody I'm probably going to see at Transmit, I'll see you guys there. So, see you tomorrow.